Good day, everyone. We are the Group 7 or Module 7. I am Rashida Imbolo and my topic today is about inferential statistic and descriptive statistic. So what is descriptive statistic? We have seen that descriptive statistics provide information about our immediate group of data. For example, we could calculate the mean and standard deviation of the exam marks of the 100 students, and this could provide valuable information about this group of 100 students. Any group of data like this, which include all the data you are interested in, is called population. A population can be small or large as long as it includes all data you are interested in. For example, if you were only interested in the exam marks of 100 students, the 100 students would represent your population. So, ang descriptive statistic is nagbibigay ng impormasyon sa atin ng agarang grupo ng data. Halimbawa, maaari naming i-calculate ang mean at standard deviation ng mga marka ng pagsusulit para sa 100 na mag-aaral at ito ay maaaring makapagpalawak ng mahalagang impormasyon na ito. Anumang grupo na tulad nito is kinabibilangan lahat ng data na interesado ka ay tinatawag na population. Maaring maliit o malaki ang isang population, hanggat kasama nito ang lahat ng data na gusto mong malaman. So, ang descriptive statistic ay naglalarawan kung ano ang nangyayari sa isang population o sa isang set ng data. Katulad ng mean or standard deviation are called parameters if they represent the whole population. Kung rinepresentan nila yung buong population is tinatawag itong parameters. Often, however, you do not have access to the whole population you are interested in investigating, but only a limited number of data instead. For example, you might be interested in the exam marks of all students in the UK. It is not feasible to measure all exam marks of all students in the whole of the UK. So you have to measure a smaller sample of students, example 100 students, which are used represent the larger population of all UK students. Properties of samples such as mean or standard deviation are not called parameters, but inferential statistics are techniques that allow us to use this sample to make generalization about the population from which the sample were drawn. It is therefore important that the sample accurately represent the population. The process of achieving this is called sampling. Sampling strategies are discussed in detail in the section. Sampling. Inferential statistics arise out of the fact that sampling naturally incurs sampling errors, and thus a sample is not expected to perfectly represent the population. The method of inferential statistics are the estimation of parameters and testing statistical hypothesis. So, ang descriptive statistic ay kung wala kang access sa buong population para maimbestigahan or limited lang ang makakaya mong i-survey or sample. Halimbawa, ay interesado ka sa marka ng pagsusulit ng mag-aaral ng UK. Kailangan mong mamili ng mas maliit na sample kasi mahirapan ka talagang makalikom ng information if lahat ng mga taga UK is kukuhaan mo ng data or respondents. Pwede kang kumuha doon ng 100 students. Sa bagay na ito ay pumapasok ang strategy sampling. Ang strategy sampling is ang proseso ng pagkamit na ito ay tinatawag na sampling. Ito yung na-discuss na natin nung midterm, which is the random sampling and non-random sampling. Ang mga katangian ng mga sample na ito ay gaya ng mean or standard deviation ay hindi tinatawag na parameters. Kasi nga, ang parameters is they represent the whole populations. Ngunit, ang mga statistics inferential ay ang pamaraan na nagbibigay daan sa amin na gamitin ang mga sample na ito upang gumawa ng mga generalizations tungkol sa mga population kung saan kinuha ang mga sample. Inferential statistic ay nagmula sa katotohanan ang sampling ay natural na nagkakaroon ng sampling error at sa gayon, isang sample ay hindi inaasang perfectong kumakatawan sa population. So, dito na tayo sa inferential statistics. So, masyado nang mahaba yung oras natin kaya hindi na natin to babasahin. So, ang inferential statistic ay sinusubukan mong makamit ang mga conclusion na higit pa sa agarang data lamang. O kaya, gumagamit kami tayo ng mga inferential statistic upang gumawa ng mga paghuhusga sa posibilidad ng isang observed na pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng mga grupo ay isang maasahan o isa na maaring nangyari ng nagkataon sa pag-aaral na ito. Kaya, gumagamit tayo ng inferential statistic upang gumawa ng mga hinuha or mula sa aming data sa mas pangkalahatang mga kondisyon. Gumagamit tayo ng mga descripting statistika para lamang ilarawan kung ano ang nangyayari sa ating data. Dito, tumutuon ako sa inferential statistic na kapaki-pakinabang sa experimental at quasi-experimental. Ito ay matatalakay natin sa susunod na reporter. O sa pagsusuri ng kinalabasan ng programa, marahil ang isa sa mga pinakasimpleng inferential test ay ginagamit kapag gusto mong ihambing ang average na performance ng dalawang grupo sa isang sukat upang makita kung mayroon isang pagkakaiba. So, halimbawa, yung grades ng mga taga UK is kukunin mo tapos ihahambing mo kung saan yung mas mataas yung grades, mababa yun yung mga range, mean, median, mode. Doon mo siya ma-apply. So, yun, maaring gusto mong malaman kung ang mga lalaki at babae sa ikalawang baitang ay naiba sa mga marka ng pagsusulit sa matematika o sa isang pangkat ng grupo ay naiiba sa sukatan ng kinalabasan mula sa isang control group. Sa tuwing nais mong ihambing ang average na pagganap sa pagitan ng dalawang grupo, dapat mong isalang-alang ang test para sa mga pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng mga groups. Most of the major inferential statistics come from general family of statistic models known as the linear models. These include the test analysis of variance or ANOVA, analysis of covariance, ANCOVA, regression analysis, at ang marami sa mga multivariate na pamamaraan tulad ng factor analysis, multidimensional scaling, cluster analysis, discriminant function analysis, at iba pa. Dahil sa kalaga ng general linear model, magandang idea para sa sinumang seryosong social researcher na maging pamilyar sa mga gawaing ganun, mga yung factor analysis, multidimensional and scale, and etc. Ang talakayan ng general linear model dito ay napakababa at isinalang-alang lamang ang mga pinakasimpleng straight line na model. Gayunpaman, magiging pamilyar ka sa idea ng linear model at magkakatulong sa paghahanda sa iyo para sa komplikadong mga pagsusuri na inilalarawan sa ibaba. Ang isa sa key or susi sa pag-iintindi kung paano ihahambing ang mga grupo ay nakapaloob sa paniniwala ng variables na dami. Ang pangalan ay hindi nagsasuggest na gumagamit tayo ng mga variables na hindi masyadong matalino o mas masahol pa. Na ang analysis na ginagamit na ito ay isang dami. Marahil ang mga variable na ito ay mas mahusay na ilarang bilang proxy variables. Sa pangkalahatan, ang isang dummy variable ay isa sa gumagamit ng discrete numbers. Karaniwan ay 0, 2, at 1 to represent the difference group in our study or in your study. Ang mga dummy variables ay isang simpleng idea na nagbibigay daan sa isang medyo komplikadong mga bagay na pangyayari. Halimbawa, sa pamamagitan ng pagsasama ng isang simpleng dummy variables sa isang model, maaari ako modelo ng dalawang magkahiwalay na linya, isa para sa bawat pangkat ng paggamot na may isang equation. Upang makita kung paano ito gumagana, tingnan ng talakayan sa mga dummy variable sa ibang link. Isa sa pinakamahalagang pagsusuri sa mga pagsusuri na kinalabasan ng programa ang nagsasangkot ng paghahambing ng programa at non-program. ng pangkat sa variable o variable na resulta. Kung paano natin ito gawin ay depende sa research design na ginagamit natin. Ang mga design na pananaliksik ay nahati sa dalawang pangunahing uri ng mga disenyo, ang experimental at quasi-experimental analysis. Dahil ang mga pagsusuri ay naiba para sa bawat isa, ang mga ito ay ipinakita ng hiwalay.
Experimental analysis. Through experimental analysis, it is randomized. You cannot assign participant to experimental group and control group. You can differentiate it based on their outcomes. Internal validity is more convenient, or you can establish the cause and effect. While quasi-experimental analysis, you need to assign control group and experimental group. It is not more on internal validity, but it is more on external validity.
Good day everyone, I'm Shahana S. Kunsuan, student of PSSW2B. So this is my part of our reporting, the types of inferential statistic test. Number 1, linear regression analysis. Is this test a linear algorithm is used to understand the relationship between two variables from the data set. One of those variables is the dependent variable, while there can be one or more independent variables used. So, linear regression analysis is the most basic and commonly used predictive analysis. Regression analysis also allow you to understand the strength of relationship between variables. So, for example, it can be used by quantify the relative impact the predictor variable like age, gender, and diet. When we say predictor variable, ito yung kadalasang nalilito sa mga independent variable which are manipulated by the researcher and experiment. The outcome variable naman kaya ng weight. So, outcome variable, when you say outcome variable, one or more outcome variable are measured kaya ng waistline, basta mga outcome na pwede i-measured. Linear regression analysis can tell you how much of the total variability in the data. Number 2 is analysis of variance. This is another statistical method which is extremely popular and data set. It is used to test and analyze the differences between two or more means from the data set. So, analysis of variance. It is a statistical formula used to compare variances across the mean or average of different groups. The significant differences between the means are obtained using this test. Meaning, ito yung collection ng mga statistical modeling at ang kailangan na nauugnay sa mga pamamaraan sa pag-estimate ng mga bagay upang mapag-aralan ang mga pagkakaiba nito. So, next is number 3, analysis of covariance. This is only a develop on the analysis of variance method and involves the inclusion of a continuous covariance in the calculation. Covariate is an independent variable which is continuous and are used as regression variable. So, in this analysis of covariance, it is test whether there is a significant difference between group after controlling for variance explained by a covariate. The primary use of covariance analysis ay upang madagdagan ang precision sa mga randomized experiment. Itong method ay parang extensively in statistical modeling upang mapag-aralan ang differences present between the average value of dependent variable. Number 4, statistical significant significance, a relatively simple test in inferential statistics. This is used to compare the means of two groups and understand if they are different from each other. The order of difference or how significant the difference are used to be obtained from this. So statistic significance help quantify whether a result is likely due to chance or to some factor or interest. For example, when a finding is significant, it simply means you can feel confident that it's real, not that you just got luck or lucky or unlucky rather. In other words, statistical significant level reflect your risk tolerance and confidence level. For example, if you run an A/B testing experiment with a significant level of 95%, nangangahulugan ito na kung madedetermine mo ang isang panalo, you can be 95% confident that the observed results are real and not an error caused by randomness. So, number 5, correlation analysis. Another extremely used test. This is used to understand two variables are dependent on each other. The correlation can also be negative or positive depending upon the variables. A negative correlation means that the value of one variable decreases while the value of the other increases. And the positive means that the variable decrease or increase simultaneously. So, correlation analysis is a method of statistical evaluation used to study the strength of a relationship between two numerically measurement continuous variables. This particular type of analysis ay kapaki-pakinabang kapag ang isang researcher ay gustong mag-establish kung may mga posibleng connection between variables. Also used to test relationship between quantified variable or categorical variables. Sa madaling salita, ito ay isang sukatan or measure kung paano nauugnay ang mga bagay.
Magkaiba. Gumagamit ng descriptive statistic upang i-summary or i-graph ang data para sa isang pangkat na yung ipipili. Gumagamit ng descriptive statistic upang i-summary and i-graph ang data para sa isang pangkat na iyong pipiliin. Nagbibigay daan sa iyo ang prosesong ito na maunawaan ang particular na bahanay ng mga obserbasyon. Halimbawa, may gusto kang i-obserbahan, halimbawa yung sa isang classroom or sa grade 8 students, gusto mong ihambing kung sino talaga yung masyadong malaki yung grades or pinakamababa yung grades niya. Ang mga descriptive statistic ay naglalarawan ng isang sample. Yan ay medyo prangka. Kukuha ka lang ng isang pangkat kung saan ka interesado. Magtala ng data tungkol sa mga miyembro ng pangkat. At pagkatapos ay gumamit ng buod ng mga statistics at mga graph upang ipakita ang mga katangian ng pangkat. Sa descriptive statistic, kawalang interest dahil ikaw ay naglalarawan lamang ng mga tao o mga items na aktwal mong sinusukat. Hindi mo sinusubukang magkumuha ng mga katangian tungkol sa may malaking population. Ang proseso ay nagsasangkot ng pagkuha ng isang potensyal na malaking bilang ng mga punto ng data sa sample at pagbabawas ng mga ito sa ilang makabuluhang halaga ng summary at mga graph. Ang pamamaraang ito ay nagbibigay daan sa atin upang makakuha ng higit pang mga insight at mailarawan ang data kaysa sa simpleng pagbuhos sa hanay sa hilera o mga hilaw na mga numero.
Good morning, ma'am. Today my report is all about common tools of descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistic frequency use the following statistic measurement to describe group. Central tendency. Use the mean of median to locate the center of the dataset. This measure tells you where most value fall. Central tendency mapaglarawang buod ng isang dataset sa pamamagitan ng isang value na nagpapakita sa gitna ng pamamahagi ng data. Ang central tendency ay isang mapaglarawang buod ng isang dataset sa pamamagitan ng isang value na sumasailalim sa gitna ng data. Pamamahagi kasama ng pagkakaiba ng isang dataset. Ang central tendency ay isang sangay ng descriptive statistic. Ang central tendency ay isa sa mga pinakakailangan ng konsepto sa statistic. Bagamat hindi ito nagbibigay ng impormasyon tungkol sa mga individual na value sa dataset, naghahati ditong komprehensibong buod ng dataset. Ang central tendency ng isang dataset ay maaaring ilarawang gamit ang mean, median, mode. Kumakatawan sa kabuuan ng lahat ng value ng isang dataset, hinati sa kabuuang bilang ng mga value. Mean. The mean formula is defined as the sum of the observation divided by the total number of observation. This will be helpful in solving a majority of the topic related to the arithmetic mean, the mean formula of giving. Median. For finding the median, we need to arrange the data either in ascending order or descending order. Now, after arranging the data, get the total number of observation in the data. If the number is odd, the median is if the number is even, find the two middle terms, use the formula. Mode. Value of a number that appears most frequently in a dataset in a mode. Dispersion. How far out from the center to the data extent you can use the range of standard deviation. To measure the dispersion, a low dispersion indicates that the value cluster moves tiny around the center. Higher dispersion signifies the data points fall further away from the center. We can also graph the frequency distribution. Skewness. The measure tells you whether the distribution of value and symmetric of this result indicates that the mean score of this class is 79.18. The scores range from 66 to 21 to 96.53 in the distribution is a symmetrical centered around the mean. A score of at least 70 on the test is acceptable. The data show that 87.7% of students have acceptable score. Inferential statistics. Inferential statistics takes data from a sample and makes inference about the larger population from which in the samples was drawn. Because the goal of inferential statistics is to draw conclusions from a sample and generalize them to a population. We need to have confidence that our sample accurately reflect the population. These requirements affect our process at the board level. We must do the following. Define the population we are studying. Draw a representative sample from the population. Use analysis that incorporate the sample error. Pros and cons of working with sample. Eugene Trimid benefits by working with a random sample drawn from a population. In most cases, it is simply impossible to measure the entire population to under and properties. The alternative is to gather a random sample and then use the methodology of inferential statistics to analyze the sample data. For instance, your sample mean and unlikely to equal the population mean exactly. The difference between the sample statistic and the population, consequently, when you estimate the properties or a population from a sample, the sample statistics are unlikely to equal the actual population value exactly. Standard analyzing tools of inferential statistics. The most common methodology in the inferential statistic: hypothesis, confidence intervals, and regression analysis. Hypothesis tests use sample data answer the question like the following. Is the most population mean greater than or less than a particular value? Are the means of two more population different from each other? Confidence intervals is defined the range of value that we observe in our sample and for which we accept for find the value that accurately reflective the population. Regression analysis is a statistical technique that is very useful for exploring the relationship between two or more variables, one independent variable and the one dependent variable. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Catherine Joyce M. Osman, reporter number 4. My report is all about confidence intervals. In inferential statistics, a primary goal is to estimate population parameters. These parameters are the unknown values for the entire populations, such as the population mean, the standard deviation. These parameter values are not only unknown but almost always unknowable. Ang ibig sabihin nito, sa inferential statistic, ang mga pangunahing layunin ay tansyahin ang mga parameter ng populasyon. Ang mga parameter na ito ay ang hindi alam na mga halaga para sa buong populasyon tulad ng ibig sabihin ng populasyon at karaniwang paglihis. Ang mga halaga ng parameter na ito ay hindi lamang kilala ngunit halos palaging hindi nalalaman. Suppose we define our population as all high school basketball players. Then, we draw a random sample from this population and calculate the mean height of 181 cm. This sample estimate of 181 cm is the best estimate of the mean height of the population. Ipagpalagay na tinutukoy natin ang populasyon bilang lahat ng manlalaro ng basketball sa high school. Pagkatapos gumuhit tayo ng isang random na sample mula sa populasyon na ito at kinakalkula ang ibig sabihin ng taas na 181 cm. Ang sample na pagtatansya na ito na 181 cm ay ang bit estimate ng average na taas ng populasyon. Next, confidence intervals. Incorporate the uncertainty and sample error to create a range of values that actual population values is like to fall within. Lumikha ng isang hanay na mga halaga na kung saan ang aktual na halaga ng populasyon ay gustong mahulog sa loob. For example, a confidence interval of 176 or 186 indicates that we can be confident that the real population mean fall within this range. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay maaari tayong kumpiyansa na ang tunay na ibig sabihin ng populasyon ay nasa saklaw na ito. Part 3, Regression Analysis. Regression Analysis. Describe the relationship between a set of independent variables and a dependent variable. Next is, for example, the fitted line plot below displays the relationship in the regression model between height and weight in adolescent girls. Ang ibig sabihin ay, ipinapakita ng fitted line plot sa ibaba ang kaugnayan sa regression model sa pagitan ng taas at timbang sa mga nagdadalaga na babae. Next is example of inferential statistics. For this example, suppose we conducted our study on the test scores for a specific class as I detailed in the descriptive statistics section. Ang ibig sabihin nito, ipagpalagay na isinasagawa natin ang ating paaralan sa mga marka na pagsusulit para sa isang particular na klase gaya ng idetalye ko sa section descriptivo. Next is in descriptive statistics. We picked the specific class that we wanted to describe and recorded all of the test scores for that class. Ang ibig sabihin ay pinili natin ang particular na klase na gusto natin ilarawan at naitala ang lahat ng mga marka ng pagsusulit para sa klase na iyon. Part 4. Inferential Statistics Results. Next is Inferential Statistics Results. For inferential statistics, we can calculate the point estimate for the mean, standard deviation, and proportion for our random sample. However, it is strategically improbable that any of these point estimates are exactly correct. And there is no way to know for sure anyway, because we cannot measure all subjects in this population. There is margin of error around these statistics. Consequently, I report the confidence interval for the mean, standard deviation, and the proportion of satisfactory scores. Here is the CSV data file. Next is inferential statistics. Statistic mean, ang population parameter estimate ng mean is 77.4 to 80.9 and standard deviation is 7.7 to 10.1 and proportion score greater than equal to 70 is 77% to 92%. Given the uncertainty associated with this estimate, we can be 95% confident that the population mean is between 77.4 and 80.9. The population standard deviation or measure of dispersion is likely to fall between 7.7 and 10.1, and the population proportion of satisfactory scores is expected to be between 77% and 92%. Next is the last slide, differences between descriptive and inferential statistics. As you can see, the difference between descriptive and inferential statistics lies in the process as much as it does the statistics that you report. Next is, for descriptive statistics, we choose a group that we want to describe and then measure all subjects in that group. The statistical summary describes this group with complete certainty or outside of measurement error. Ang ibig sabihin ay pipili kami ng isang pangkat na gusto naming ilarawan at pagkatapos ay sukatin ang lahat ng mga paksa sa pangkat na iyon. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat, ma'am.